Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Presents Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy, and remember, every belt has a story. Now, before we get into today's topic, let me remind you of a couple quick things. Did you know that you can watch all of the Wrestling Realm content anytime just by going to youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm? Don't forget to like and follow us on all social media platforms, which include Instagram, X, and Facebook, just by using @the Wrestling Realm. And always like and subscribe and engage us in the comments. You can also stream and download all our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can watch our Twitch stream at The Wrestling Realm. Now, if you're looking to save a couple dollars, and I know a lot of people are hurt that the Orioles didn't make it, but you know what? They had an awesome year, but still want to, save a couple dollars on sporting events. Royal Rumbles coming up, different things. Anything that you would buy a ticket for, just go to SeatGeek and see if they offer it, because if you use the code at the Wrestling Realm, it'll save you $20 off of anything, $50 or more. So what is today's topic? As you saw, we did a volume 1, and now this is volume 2. So let me just show you a couple pictures so you can see what we're going to talk about today. These belts are a thing of beauty. When I first saw them, all I kept saying was, that's how a tag team belt should look. It's nothing for a tag team belt like above my head for both teams to have the same belt. But isn't it kind of cool to know, I have the black on the left side or you have the black on the right side, because they mirror each other. They look like they were just as important, and they felt like a big deal without having a globe, without having an eagle, without having any kind of bird, without having anything sibling a ring. It actually just says this point. We are the NXT Tag Team Champions. It doesn't even say champions on here. It just says tag team. But when you look at it, it has the mark of a champion. The fact that the black and the gold were just clean, that's the only thing for NXT at the time, was just black and gold. And these belts, even the side plates, they were just amazing to me to have these. And funny story, when I went to that infamous NXT in Ohio and they were selling the belts at the last minute, I remember them only selling the one with the black on the right side. And I kept saying to myself, I wonder if that's just what they have left, or did they sell both? I wasn't really heavy into belt collecting back then, but I was heavy into wrestling. So when I started my belt journey, I couldn't decide which one, so I said, you know what? There are two different belts. Gotta have both of them. Hence why I have two. This is actually the second set of these I own. This set is very nice. It's 4mm. Of course, it's only being a single layer. Side plates are detachable. But the good thing about these belts, I will carry them to any show because they're lightweight. As you can see, I'm going around, but they just look good. So there you have it, people. There's my belt. To understand the importance of this division, you got to understand the history behind it. In 2013, this seemed like the natural progression for NXT, establishing itself as the black and gold brand, trying to really establish those indie darlings into a space where they can hone their talents, improve on it, and actually now, fast forward in 2023, we can see the fruits of their labor, because tag team wrestling kind of is ever changing, ever evolving. But if it wasn't for this spark in 13, then we wouldn't have had that main roster spark on Raw and SmackDown, in NXT, in AEW, in Impact Wrestling, because tag teams knew, hey, I can go do something, I can be something, I don't have to be a world champion, I can be my world champions within my division. So when Adrian Neville and Oliver Gray won the titles the first time, and they beat an established team of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, I was surprised because I thought the inaugural champions would be the Wyatt family. But injury happened, and then they put the belts on the Wyatt family, and it was always in this division. It was always the the mean heel or the heels that you're like, oh man, they won, but it was always the superhero coming back to, or the fan favorite, or whatever you want to call it, always toppling them and giving you that feel good moment. Whether they were short or long title reigns, I felt like every title reign with these belts felt special. When you look at who had it, it was, of course, in one match, Bo Dallas actually subbed in for Oliver Gray because of injury, but then that's when they didn't recognize Bo Dallas as being, it was just a one-off type of thing. But when the Wyatts had it and then Neville and Corey Graves got it, it was a good thing to see Corey Graves in that spot. I wish we could have seen more, but I'm glad he stopped before things got worse, and I wish him that he stays healthy. So when you look at a who's who of the tag teams, you would see the Ascension, Lucha Dragons, which was kind of a ironically, it was a revival for Sin Cara at the time, and it just worked. They had the crowd saying the things. It was these happy-go-lucky people, somebody that you wanted to see. But of course, Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy, just pure-on wrestlers. Great matches, hard-hitting, just pure-on wrestlers. The Von Villains. You didn't even see a team in this time that was doing the things they were doing. Old-timey feel, different type of feel. They were just something different to put in front of you, and you could feel that, okay, I'm with this. It's a different type of wrestling. They're not just going out there doing this. They are characters. Then we bring in the Revival. No flips, just hits. All the greatest hits of people like the Four Horsemen, all of the old school wrestling, the NWA days. They really brought that into modern era. DIY, American Alpha. American Alpha was compared to, Kurt Angle and his team Angle and the world's greatest tag team, but they definitely came into their own. DIY, makeshift tag team that you would think, just like we have random teams that's been put together, like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, they came together, they worked. Chris Jericho and any opponent that you put them with, you put them together and it works. DIY, same thing. Authors of Pain, big guys you knew good and well when they got into the ring, they were going to either squash you or take the titles, which they did. And they were the last one to hold this iteration of the belt. And the thing about these belts, they felt just as important as the world title at times, and they felt like that could open or close the show without a hiccup. It felt like that these teams, and a lot of them have broken off. We all know what FTR became. We know what Chad Gable happened with him. He'd had multiple teams, and every time he shines. DIY, same thing. They had great single run, came together as a tag team. Looked like we might be reforming this on Monday Night Raw. But look what those two guys could do in this space. Granted, Blake and Buddy Murphy, look what Buddy Murphy is doing. Whoever you put him in the ring with, you're not going to have a bad match. He did that in 205 Live. He's done it at AEW. I just wish that he would find his ground as a singles competitor. Give him a good microphone, but all of these things laid the foundation for what we enjoy today. So let me give you a little brief history about something else. The tournament that crowned these champions were as follows. You had the Wyatt family, who was Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. They defeated Percy Watson and Yoshitatsu. Bo Dallas and Michael McGillicuddy, a pre-B team, defeated Primo Epico, who were an established tag team. You had the British Ambition, who were Adrian Neville and Oliver Gray. They defeated Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater, also known as 3MB at the time. And then Cassius Uno and Leo Kruger, Adam Rose, defeated Alex Riley and Derek Bateman / EC3. So when I say this tag team division helped us pave the way for a lot of wrestlers, I'm pretty sure that this was another way for us to showcase things. Let them see what these people can do, because Derek Bateman as EC3, like him or not, still made a name for himself. Alex Riley, he did a couple things in different versions of NXT. He was part of the game show. He was part of The Miz. He did some things within wrestling. Cassius Uno, a indie legend. Chris Hero, as he's more noticeably named. Leo Kruger, of course, we know him as Adam Rose and WWE. 3MB, need I say more about those guys? And Primo and Epico, who were pound for pound one of the best tag teams during a time when tag teams that started to fall off, they carried the division on their back. And you had a pre-iteration of the B team. Does this mean that these two work together very well, and that's why on the main roster they wind up placing them together? Who knows? But it's interesting to see. Without these belts, where will we be? So, there you have it, guys. There's my take on the NXT tag belts, how important it is. And this is just one part of it because the belts were changed, but we'll talk about that on another episode. Remember, every belt has a story, and I can't wait to hear yours.